Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As y'all see by the title of today's video, we're back with Rate My Build, a series that I did back in 2K22, kind of 21 as well, but not quite as much. But nonetheless, we're here to rate your guys' build that you sent me on Twitter. As you can see right here, I asked to send me a build you're thinking about making for Christmas. I am a little bit late right here, about a week, to be completely honest. So what we have listed right here are all the builds. We got one for my boy Valrico right here. We got Denton as well with a pick and roll, pick and pop with a slightly bit of pick and pop option. Terps right here deciding between two 6'1" point guards, one with more defense, one with more finishing. Then we have Koza right here with also a 6'3" guard, but this one right here is a little bit more, I would say, unique, so to say. And also in today's video, compared to what I did back in the day, I'm actually going to give it a 1 out of 10 rating as far as what I actually think of it. So after that, I will be reviewing it and kind of revising and making changes that I would advise to do. But think of this as kind of like a fixer-upper sort of deal where I'm trying to fix people's builds and give them a couple like slight tweaks as far as maybe certain thresholds they're not reaching, or certain badge points that are worth, or maybe just in general, try and revise the whole build in general. So let's get straight into this. I hope y'all enjoy. If you do, for to drop a like, sub if you're new to them noties, all that good stuff. And like always, try us 1 to 2,000 likes. So to start us off, we have Valrico's build. Now mind you, his concept, while he was the only one that really gave a true concept of what he's going for right here, he wants an XP farmer build, essentially, where he's able to just load into rec, play with randoms, and be able to just kind of get quick XP, essentially, simple as that. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the 6'10" super heavyweight style builds. I think to just go for that 94 strength is kind of overdoing it personally. I don't think going for brick wall is really worth it quite as much in general. I just think as far as rec goes, it's hard to really work pick and roll with a lot of randoms, to be completely real with you. And then also, normally I would say he's missing out on that 1 extra rebound for 94 like offense rebound to get the Hall of Fame box out beast, but he does have the 94 strength, which easily gets that anyway. But personally, if you ask me, this is a pretty tough build, and I don't mean that in a sense of like good. I just mean I don't really like the build per se, personally. Like, I honestly think being 6'10", you should capitalize off the fact that you can still like really have amazing driving dunk on this. And I don't think it's smart to have such low driving dunk, driving lay, especially if your plan is to be a pick and roller with the Hall of Fame brick wall. At least I'm assuming that's why you have it. It does also still work to negate back downs and stuff like that, but I don't really think that's that big a deal when it comes to rec center. I think honestly that cannot be that big of an issue. Now with this level of interior defense, it might be. I want to make quite a few revisions on this build personally, and while I do understand the concept of the build is XP farmer, I don't think contested finishing is truly what you're looking for when it comes to XP farming in the first place. XP is going to be based off your teammate grade. With teammate grade comes really good rebounds, really good shot contests, stuff like that. And also, I will say one thing he did cover for really well is the 86 pass act for the Hall of Fame break starter, and that will 100% carry you as far as that stuff goes. I will say you're not going to be able to run anything like Needle Threader, obviously, and also you would get gold unpluckable, but can't run that, unfortunately, with the post control where it is. So just keep that in mind. You would need to get way a ton of extra playmaking badges, which is not going to happen on this. And again, I may be sticking to the concept of the XP farmer a little bit too heavily, but that's what makes this one fun. I want to really make this as the best XP farming build I could possibly do. I also don't like the idea of getting 3 less speed than you could afford to do, essentially. So like, as you can see, it has 70 speed. I believe it can go to 73, maybe even 74. I'll get to that when we make the revisions. And also, I don't really like the post control being super high, if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, especially off the fact that, like I said, he can't even afford the gold unpluckable anyway. Personally, I would like to take away from a little bit of post control, a little bit of standing dunk, and a little bit of close shot, give more into the driving dunks to make it a more viable build in those senses as well. Maybe even a little bit of driving lay, because I don't like the idea of having a build that has like 40 driving layup. Maybe if you have good dunk though, we could still afford to keep the driving lay pretty low, so we may end up just doing that as well. And then also, we definitely need more interior defense on this build. I think around 80-ish should do it. And then we could maybe go for the Hall of Fame rebound chaser as well. With taking the close shot down to probably 85 is what I'm going to try and do right here. It'll take the mid-range down as well to probably around 45 as well, so it's not going to be quite as much invested in the mid-range. It's going to be some extra points that we can get back for free. My goal right here is to get the Hall of Fame rebound chaser for the 99 offensive rebound, also still get some more driving dunk as well, and then upgrade the interior defense too. Aside from that though, I guess the plan is that he wants the strength pretty high. If it were me personally, I would definitely be dropping this to about like the gold brick wall range, where you could see maybe get like, you know, 86 strength and maybe capitalize on the speed a little bit more, probably go more in the territory of lower weight, but I'm going to try and stay in the kind of realm of just what we're going for here as far as like just everything as far as the physicals goes. So like the height, weight, wingspan, I don't really want to change that too much. But anyway, what do I rate this build for the concept that it's going for? I'm going to be real with you guys. as the XP farmer, I don't really think this build's that good. I think you really need to capitalize off the fact that you have the interior defense upgrades. It'll make it way better for the shot contest and stuff like that. You want to be able to get pretty good blocks and rebounds, which will contribute to that quite as well. I will say too, for the XP farming, teammate grade goes up quite a bit off green shots. So to make it an inside in rec center of all places as well, it can be kind of tough, I'm gonna be real with you. And also to just kind of sit below the basket and just be like a standing dunker, we definitely do want that offensive rebound at 99. So I would really prefer to just make it taller for that matter too. If you're going to really like kill its ball handling, driving, dunk, all types of stuff like that, its perimeter defense, there's really no point in being 6'10 at this point if you're not going to capitalize off the speed, the perimeter defense, the ball handling, the driving dunk, anything like that. So to be real with you guys, I'm probably going to give this build more of like a 2 or a 3. I don't think this is really it when it comes to what you're looking for a 6'10" in general, and not let alone just an XP farmer. So let's make a little bit of revision. I'm going to make what I truly do believe is just the best XP farming build that still keeps the concept of being an inside center, and I'm going to give you guys a rough estimate of what I'm going to try and shoot for here. Also, by the way, these are our takeovers that we're working with. This has post, rim, and glass. I'm not a big fan of these either, but for the sake of, like I said, the XP grinding, I suppose running glass and rim can be okay. It's gonna definitely like contribute to what you're trying to go for here. The secondary rim take will help you get the takeover faster. So let's make our quick revision to this. All right, so personally, this is more along the lines of what I'm looking at right here. 85 close shot for the gold fast twitch. As you can see, take that off, boom, it would go down. Obviously, that's more so what I'm shooting for. My plan right here would be that you would be able to put 4 extra finishing badges in. You'd be able to get the masher, rise up, and fast twitch. You would then be able to run posterizer and slithery and limitless takeoff for, as you can see, 3, 2, which is 5, and then you would also have silver poster, which would be 9 points. I will say though, it would be nice to be able to get fearless finisher as well, which would cost you at least 2 more points at that point, because then you would be able to run fearless, limitless takeoff, slithery, and posterizer if you had 2 extra finishing, plus the 4 extra for the finishing badges. Now, if you go extra core badge loadouts, that's a whole nother conversation, but in general, you need a little bit more finishing badges to be able to execute on this properly. To answer his question though, I truly do believe that you don't need masher when it comes to rec. I'm gonna be honest with you, people play a lot of man or zone defense. If you end up near the paint, there's generally gonna be a 7-foot plus center on you or something like that, or at least a 6'10" and up, and masher is not going to do a whole lot for you in that sense, especially if you were going with, let's say, even that 6'10" that we were talking about. I really am not a big believer in masher. I think rise up is what you're really way more invested in, and fast twitch would be nice too. So fast twitch, rise up, the really big ones. After that, like I said though, posterizer, slithery, fearless finisher, which is really actually probably more important than masher for that sake, because in general this just helps you make contested layups. So I would value fearless finisher way over masher, plus it's cheaper on the badge points too, so I 100% believe in that. So if you go with this badge loadout right here and we just say screw masher, you'll be able to run limitless for 3, fearless for 6, and slithery for 8, poster for 12. Then after that, we have enough points to be able to run, for instance, fast twitch and rise up. Anything past that is really just up to your discretion and whatever you would like, because there's not a whole lot more. Maybe you're into post hooks if you would like the Hall of Fame Pro Touch. It's possible with this level of close shot as well. Now maybe you were more in line for, let's say, some post control and you were planning to be more of an interior finisher with like drop step or stuff. I do apologize if that's the case, but in my personal opinion, it's very rare that you're gonna get the ball from randoms in the post. I mean, it's so rare that if you come in here with like a 6'10" for that matter, like the original build was, if you're holding like your LT posting up trying to get the ball, them dudes are not giving you the ball very often. I'm gonna be real with you, and I think your better way of going about things is maybe to just stand underneath the hoop and really just camp for offensive rebounds, fight for offensive rebound position, get your own shots, get your offensive rebounds, and get your own takes back up with the putbacks, in which case you don't really need post control for because you're already below the basket. That's my true opinion, and I think you're better off as far as like an XP grinder to just cope with how offensive players are going to function in the rec. Also, I would recommend the free throw be a little bit higher. It's going to be really nice to make those because it will give you way better takeover. The takeover amount that you get off made free throws is really convenient, and not everybody's built for that 53 free throw life. Sometimes I'm not even, and I really am a big advocate of I think I can handle it. But either way, it would be nice if we were to just say kind of screw masher, because then you don't have to put so many extra finishing badge points in. It would be nice if we could put a lot of extra into defense, and then at that point you got things like anchor, maybe pogo. I don't know if pogo is really necessary though, to be honest with you. I think it's more so just anchor. You could core Hall of Fame rebound chaser, Things like Chase Down and Box Out Beast would be very nice. I would definitely advise at least Box Out Beast. Chase Down is up to your idea. And then at that point, you do want to keep a lot of these tier 1s right here between Challenger, Glove, Interceptor as well, maybe some Workhorse. And if the plan is to run Brick Wall, I would definitely advise to put a couple of extra defense on, or just in general, maybe just figure it out from there. I'm not going to lie to you guys, I don't want to spend way too much time on each build because we got a lot of ones to talk about in today's video. So I don't want to go super deep dive, like analytical with this stuff. But I do still want that 86 strength for the gold brick wall like we just said, and then we could get pretty good vertical too. 82 is plenty fine on a 7-footer like this. You're going to be able to move really well. I mean, the 73 speed is definitely an upgrade from the fact that you were 2 inches shorter at 6'10", and then also still at 70 speed, which isn't ideal. You always want to cap out your speed to your height. You want to cap out your speed to height and weight ratio is how I'd put it, where you don't want to leave this kind of unfilled. It's very cheap for that matter too. I definitely would advise to always max out your speed at whatever height you go with. And then stamina 92 should be plenty fine. Takeovers, they're literally the same thing as what we just had minus post, but like I said, I think with this style, you would plan to maybe more so just hawk the rebounds and get your own putback dunks and just kind of takes on your own, essentially, and don't rely on your teammates to pass you the ball quite as much. So that is our revised version of the build. We'll finalize this now. And either way, I still wouldn't rate this a 10 out of 10. I know at the end of the day, it's not built to be extremely competitive. It's meant to be, like I said, the XP farmer. And that is the whole point of it at the end of the day. So we have now changed that one to the Diamond Paint Beast. I think it low-key was that before anyway. But next up, we have my boy Denton right here. He has the pick and pop option that's more of an inside center as well at 6'11". So this one right here, 238 on the weight, 7'9" wingspan. I would say it's actually pretty good, personally. He has the gold brick wall as well, 86 strength. As you can see, he has the 94 D-board for the Hall of Fame box out beast, 93 block for the gold anchor. I think he just has more vertical on just for the sake of having more vert, which I'm gonna be real with you guys. I think I would definitely prefer to take like some of this off and put it into stamina. I think 2 vert for 15 stamina is a very, very good trade-off. Or for that matter, at least go right here where you just lose 1 vertical for what, 7 stamina. I think that's well worth, to be completely honest with you guys, but we'll get to our revisions when we get to them. I'm also a big believer that if you have a pick and pop option that also still has contact dunks and gold limitless takeoff, you probably want your acceleration pretty high. I think the catch and run, you want to be able to utilize that. I know you may think like, oh, I have 40 ball handle and no speed with ball, it's not even gonna be usable, but in this game you better believe that your like stop and goes and your catch and run into like contact dunk opportunities are definitely there, or just catch and run like for people pursuing your 3-point line. Now the question becomes, can you shoot with 71 3-pointer? Obviously with 9 shooting badges as well, it becomes probably pretty tough. You can't run anything in the tier 3. At that point we probably have like silver claymore, I would say probably bronze green machine, or maybe we just end up running some clutch shooter. Maybe you want to maybe just primarily shoot the ball when it's late in the game and it actually matters, and maybe you want to take your 2s early on off pick and roll like slips and stuff like that. Maybe you're maybe you're comfortable with the 71 3-pointers in general off like just wide open 3s. It has to be about as easy as it can come. But yeah, Denton also put mid-range on the build more than it needs to be. Like for instance, you could just have 71 3-pointer and 56 mid. He did apply a little bit of extra mid-range right here for the badge points, which I can agree with. Low-key, going from 56 mid-range to 61 for 3 badge points, it's pretty cost efficient. It actually works out pretty good. We may even look into that a little bit more, to be completely honest with you guys. But either way, we're trying to just make this a pick and pop, pick and roll option that has like just a more viable sense. Now, what do I actually rate the build? I think it's actually pretty solid. It's a pretty good like foundation of just the fact that you have the 86 driving dunk. I will say though, I think we can use a couple tweaks when it comes to close shot and standing dunk. I would like to maybe utilize its elite finishing ability a little bit more off the fact that we have ridiculous vertical too. So it would be kind of nice if we can just kind of soup this thing up in general. But it's going to be hard to make those revisions. I want to just go ahead and play around with it myself, and I will give you guys my opinion on the build. I think it's maybe like a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, something like that. It's a pretty decent build. I would say a little bit mediocre in general. I'm not really a huge fan of 6'11s playing on the park or in rec center like this for that matter anyway. This could be a pretty good rec build minus the break starter only being on silver. Obviously, if I'm assuming with it being 75 pass act, it's more intended for park anyway. So not really planning to change that regardless to the 76 because 75 is the badge point right here anyway for it. So I'm assuming this is more of a park build, to be with you, like 3s, 2s, stuff like that. So I'm going to treat it accordingly. As far as the takeovers go, all it gets is rim and glass. We may even try to modify that a little bit, but it's going to be kind of hard to. There's no way we can really get this sharp take without upgrading the 3-point a little bit, but maybe we can apply that. We'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and make my revisions to this. Alright, so we once again made the revision to give it the 85 close shot, the 90 standing dunk for the elite big man contact dunks, not to mention obviously the 85 close shot for the fast twitch, for once again the same exact reason that we talked about for the last build, the gold fast twitch, gold rise up, and then kind of screw masher. I'm gonna be real with you guys, you definitely don't want that for Park anyway. As you can see, the 6'11" unfortunately gets fearless finisher in this tier 2 instead of tier 1. But you can still probably manage to afford all the stuff. I'm real, like you would end up probably running fearless finisher, poster, slithery, and limitless takeoff. Probably nothing else, to be real with you. There's probably no real reason. Maybe bronze acrobat, but I don't know. There's really no good layup packages for the bigs at 6'11" if you only have 70 driving layup anyway. So it'd probably be along the lines of just fast twitch, rise up, fearless, poster, slithery, limitless takeoff. Simple as that. And you could probably afford all of that. I know I'm not doing all the number crunching perfectly, but obviously it's in the territory that could probably afford it. Now, what we also did, upgraded this 3-pointer to 76, which gives you the gold claymore, which I really do like for the fact that maybe you could just be a corner spot up and you could fit it in with a whole lot more people. Like for me, like because Denton's my boy, we would probably play Park on a build like this anyway. I'd love to play on a build like this with him for Park anyway. So something like this that can maybe just spot up in the corner a little bit more, and it could, if your team is in a little bit more of a 3-hunt situation, and you could at least be respectable a whole lot more, and that gold claymore could really come in clutch. Not to mention just more 3-point rating in general. We have the mid-range rating up right here. As you can see, the only thing I could apply after that was just either 1 free throw or 1 mid-range, so I just said why not go with the 65 mid-range. But either way, 12 shooting badges should be way more manageable. The silver green machine, not to mention the gold claymore as far as the upgrades we have between the last build. And then also could still run things like clutch shooter, maybe even some bronze agent 3 low key. I mean, it's tier 1 at the end of the day, so it could be kind of cool to run. And again, I did want to max out that acceleration to 68 so we could at least like utilize the catch and run factor a little bit more. So I took the vertical down a little bit to 82. We have the speed still at 75, and then also the D-board is at 94. Now, as a little bit more of a pop-heavy build, where you at least have that 76 three-pointer, I think you can get away with that 85 offensive rebound. I'm real with you. Like, I can still defensive rebound on my builds with 81 D-board versus my 94 offensive. I think, honestly, you could still offensive rebound plenty fine, considering you have the Hall of Fame box-out beast, you got the gold rebound chaser. I think 85 is plenty fine, not to mention we still have the gold anchor. And then I ended up dropping down the interior defense quite a bit, I would say, but honestly, I think this level of interior defense and block is plenty doable at 6'11" as well. I think you could truly like really utilize this well. And comparing this to my last build, I think this is actually a really good build. I would even consider using this myself, truly. I mean, this is about as good as a 6'11" gets, if you ask me. I mean, you have everything from mashing ability to the driving dunk ability. You have pro contact dunks as well with gold limitless takeoff, silver poster. You also have the ability to standing contact dunk, not to mention the big man elite contacts may even just factor into the moving contact dunk meters in general. You may get ones closer to the basket. The pop ability is way more respectable than the original build. The playmaking is still the exact same. Obviously, it is what it is. And then, as you can see, defense, a little bit of minor tweaks. We probably downgraded defense a little bit, but either way, I think this makes it way more usable, way more respectable. Not to mention, we got the sharp takes as well. So if you want to run one of these as well, you can definitely do so. Spot up precision could be a cool thing to run. We'll go ahead and just lock that in, and this is our revision to the build. I would truly rate this more of like an 8 or 9 out of 10, to be honest. I still think for the sake of being Park, though, it's always hard to really vouch for 6'11", 6'10" builds that don't get clamps. It's kind of hard to really run anything besides a 6'9" or below, if you really ask me. But I still think this looks way better, really good, and I hope he hasn't already made the build yet, because this could be something that would really be runnable for him. Alright, now next up, I'm not going to make any revisions to these two builds because I'm going to be honest, this video is going to go on way too long if I do 5 different builds, and I'm going way too in-depth with all of these. So my plan already anyway was to just kind of compare and contrast between the two builds and just pick one. Pick A or B. Make no revisions to it at all. Literally just tell him which one to run because that's what he asked. He's not sure which build he wants to decide on. So listed right here, as you can see, we won't really go into the badges or anything like that just yet. I will eventually, but I just want to show a kind of side-by-side comparison. So this build gets enough finishing badges to run the limitless takeoff on silver, obviously the quick drops included, and then also have 92 3-pointer, 81 mid-range. They both have 92 3, 81 mid. The differences are, as you can see, the defense on this one is really lacking. So 60 steal, 70 prim D. And then the acceleration is a little bit different. We'll kind of show and compare and contrast between this one. But this build is a 6'1" as well that has 95 steal and 84 prim D. Now, I do want to tell you real quick, I would absolutely advocate for at least getting 2 more perimeter defense just to go ahead and showcase to you. We'll just take that acceleration down temporarily just to be able to showcase the perimeter defense. This gives a unreal massive amount of defensive badges that we could run right here. Now I know the plan may just be that you're going to run glove and interceptor, simple as that, and don't even want to touch challenger or clamps, but at least putting this to 86 allows you to run so many more defensive badges between Hall of Fame workhorse, the gold challenger, the silver clamps. You guys know I'm a huge fan of the 86 Primdy, but nonetheless, just want to we'll keep that in mind as far as like deciding on a build between the finishing one and the non-finishing one. But really what this comes down to is, are you playing primarily park with it? If you're playing only park, I do think you can definitely run a build like this. I don't think you need the quick drops. As long as you play with a center that you can kind of cooperate with, I think it's fine. Not to mention, I truly do think just in general, having no dunk is a little bit more acceptable than people give it credit for. I mean, if it's at the expense of just being a complete noodle on defense, shout out to my boy Zeke, he uses that term like so much talking about AK's no defensive builds, but being a noodle on defense is so annoying just off the fact that you only have 60 steal, horrible prim D. It's not going to be able to play any lanes. You're not going to be able to play any on-ball D with it. They're going to pick on you all game. You're not going to have fun. You're not going to have a good time playing the game. I'm going to just put it like that. Now, this build does still get 96 ball handle, Hall of Fame clamp breaker. I'm a really big fan of this build in comparison. I will say though, if you're talking only park, you don't need 86 pass ac either. I would highly advise that you go down to like 75, really just keep it about as simple as that. And I think at that point you have a whole lot more to work with. I mean, like if we just like straight up try and put some dunk on this, you could end up with 50. I don't think it's worth it at that point though. Let's maybe look for obviously like 86 prim D. We could maybe even invest a little bit more into defense. For instance, maybe go for the Hall of Fame glove, Hall of Fame interceptor. I mean, it's definitely worth consideration. Like all you'd have to do at that point, boom, there you go. I mean, you can 24 defensive badge points. You'd be able to core badge one and run the other. And at that point, maybe have a couple more badge points left over if you put a couple extra in and maybe could run challenger or clamps. But yeah, I do personally like the idea of the more defensive build with no finishing than to, for instance, give it finishing with very little defense. I don't think it's very smart to have super low D. You can make it work on offense. I know it's not going to be as pretty and as efficient and as perfect, but we're just going to fill in the free throw as well just to show the takeover options, but you would have shot, sharp, play, and lock. Simple as that. Also, if you're running something like this, I would recommend to run the lock take primary. You would be able to then get your acceleration boosted by 8, which would be really fire. And then when you're on lock take as well, you can just guard ball. Now, I know I've seen a lot of people in like the past talk about, oh, you're not guarding anything with a 6'1 with 80 speed and 86 prim D or 92 prim D or even 97 prim D. I totally disagree. I've seen my boy Zeke come out here on a build that has 99 steal, and regardless of what his speed is, because it was even at 75 in the moment, or even like lower prim D with no clamps, no challenger, no nothing. I've seen some freakish play on that build. It is unbelievable. And also, that 96 ball handle Hall of Fame unpluckable is going to be so annoying. I'm real with you. And when it comes to guarding point guards and point guards guarding you, yes, I understand your acceleration is going to be lower. It's going to be harder for you to get yourself open. Really about as simple as that, right? But having 95 ball handle for that Hall of Fame unpluckable and having clamp breaker is going to be such an annoyance for people to guard you. And then you even still have 99 steal. So people that maybe don't have that, let's say a build that was, for instance, maybe at 90 ball handle or 89 for the Hall of Fame quick first step, like a lot of 6'9" do in this game. You're going to be going at people that have gold unpluckable while you have gold glove, and then they probably only have silver or silver glove while you have Hall of Fame unpluckable. I think it's a really good counter. I think this is a really like devious park build right here, and if that's truly all you're talking about, I think the build with more defense is way better for park. Now, if you're talking pro-am, like competitive pro-am, absolutely this build. You can get away with playing corner D with very little amounts of perimeter defense or steal rating, and at this point, you obviously can't afford interceptor or glove at all, though. I will keep that in mind for you. So I don't really know what your plan would be to run as far as defensive badges go. Maybe like some workhorse and off-ball pest, simple as that. Maybe some box-out beast too, but I don't know. I mean, this could be really good for Pro-Am. I mean, its offense is elite. It has the great pass accuracy for it. It's got the elite ball handle for the Hall of Fame clamp breaker, elite acceleration as well. The vertical is plenty fine as well. I'm not really sure why the build ended up with 70 vertical. This was some weird thing that I was seeing, all right? So you'll see a little bit of a glitch right here. Like, I don't know what's up with this build. It's a really interesting thing. Maybe this is why he did vertical, because he saw that he could get it for free or something on some weird stuff, but as you can see, the builder has a little bit of a glitch in it where I couldn't put any stamina up if I wanted to. You can hear me clicking over right here. But when I put my vertical up a rating, I can now put stamina, which is really weird. And as you can see, it lets you like go all the way to a threshold of 70. So I'm not gonna lie, that is some really glitchy stuff right there. But yes, for Pro-Am, I absolutely would advise this is a really good build. I would say the other one though, way better for Park, if that answers your question, about as simple as that. So now, on our last build right here, we got Koza's build. Now, he didn't really submit anything as far as like details of what he wants to do with the build or anything like that. I just saw it look kind of cool, and it was one of the very few 6'3s that I actually thought was actually good that I've ever seen in this game. But as you can see, 6'3", 186 on the weight, 6'11" wingspan. Now, this build comes a little bit of a caveat of the fact that it doesn't have the gold limitless range, but 89 3-pointers enough for Agent 3 and blinders on gold, as well as, obviously, this doesn't matter at all, but corner specialist in tier 1 on Hall of Fame. Again, doesn't matter at all, literally, but we definitely want the 89 3-pointer. He's really smart for that. It's really a great idea, especially for a park build as well. Now, on that note, that 96 ball handle does look real sweet. I'm gonna be real with you guys, that is a really nasty thing to go for. But unfortunately, I don't think it's possible on this build. It's gonna be really tough with the fact that he has that 95 steel for the gold glove. I still am of the really big belief that you really should have Hall of Fame if you're going for that. Gold is underrated and it's good, but when you run into other point guards that have Hall of Fame unpluckable, it becomes really annoying to try and deal with that. I guess as far as park goes though, you don't really see too many of those. You probably see majority 6'9s that have gold unpluckable, and gold glove can definitely get at it. I will say that much, especially with their lack of ball handle and just how tall they are in comparison to your height as well. 90 acceleration is plenty fine for the 6'3", and then he also has a 75 vertical for the pro contact dunks off the 86 dunk, 84 technically, but also 85 gives you the posterizer, and then obviously 86 gives you the gold limitless takeoff. I'm not sure if his plan would be to only run limitless takeoff and then core badge one of these two, or for that matter, maybe he wants to run a double finishing core. It would kind of suck though. You're not gonna be able to run like obviously any like shooting badge core if that's the case. I would also at least put one extra shooting badge on this for the reason of you could core, say for instance, Agent 3 or blinders, and then run the other one for 7 badge points. Then if you run the other one for 6, that's 13 shooting badge points, and obviously you have to spend 10 between tier 1 and tier 2. So to have 23 is the magic number, essentially, and that's why you'd want to add at least one shooting. So I'm assuming that's what he would do or has done already. And also, my bad, I was kind of tripping. He has to add at least one finishing badge point too, so I'm assuming that's what's also been done here, and that would put you to 17. You could run the limitless takeoff after that. Probably core badge slithery, I would assume. It'd probably be about as simple as that. And then probably like gold giant slayer, fearless finisher on bronze, and then maybe bronze acrobat too. That'd put you at 9. You'd have to spend one more badge point, maybe like just bronze area wizard or something like that too. So anyway, the unfortunate thing about this build too, if I could really quickly showcase it to you, if you were to go too higher on your layup, you would be able to run Fearless Finisher and Acrobat on silver. I think that actually might be worth to go for if it's at the expense of, let's say, maybe a little bit of stamina. I'm not sure what we could really take away from. Looks like the strength maybe 1 as well. And then at that point, we're penny pinching for one last thing. Maybe free throw could take it down. Okay, yes, so we could go with that. Then boom, there you are, back to your finishing. And all it was really to expend on was literally just some stamina. And it looks like we can't take free throw down anymore to get the stamina back, so 96 stam could maybe just be the solution. And then at that point, you could actually run Fearless Finisher and Acrobat on silver, which I think is way more worth the investment of the fact that they're both tier 2. So that's about the only revision I really have for this build, honestly. That's about it. I mean, other than that, I think it's pretty obvious that really you're going to add 1 finishing for the 17, and then also add 1 shooting for the 23 shooting, and then also probably add 1 playmaking, because then at that point you could run Handles for Days and Clamp Breaker, and then boom, you would core badge 1, run the other, and it does still let you run, for instance, maybe killer combos, but realistically, you have a lot of points to spend between tier 2, so it's probably unlikely that it's even just going to be 1 playmaking. It's probably everything you have left, to be honest. Like, you're going to need quick first step, unpluckable, hyperdrive, probably some bronze bailout too, so that's literally like 6, 12, 18, and then 21 playmaking badge points right there alone. So that is going to be tough. I think you definitely want to add a lot of playmaking badges into this, because at that point then you would need at least 1 core badge of Handles for Days probably in tier 3, and then Clamp Breaker would cost you 7 badge points. Anything past that is anything you're going to spend in tier 2. So overall, I would say I would rate this build about a 9. Honestly, I think this covers all bases. Shout out to Koza for this. It's a really good build. In a perfect world, it could have 99 steel for the Hall of Fame glove, which you probably could do at 6'1", to be completely honest with you. I don't really think there's anything here that's special about being 6'3". Doesn't really change anything, to be honest. The badge tiering is all the same from 6'3 to 6'1", so if you did make this 6'1", you'd probably be looking at literally the exact same build, just 99 steel, which I know for a fact because Zeke has pretty much the same build. So that's at least my take on it. But anyway, for the takeovers, I'd probably run easy blow-bys on this, considering you're not really much of a like gold limitless range kind of guy on a build like this. I don't think you really want to be quite as much dependent on your sharp take and shot take, but who knows? Maybe people would actually enjoy it. I think running easy blow-bys could be kind of fire on this, and then also pair it with like limitless range as well. I think it'd be a really good takeover pair. But anyway, that is all for the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. I know this is probably a long video for what the context of it is, but I really do look forward to more of these. What I want to do maybe in the future is concept them. I want to talk about maybe just centers, maybe just point guards, maybe just shooting guards for pro-am. I think that could be truly what we're looking at, and I'm going to start tweeting stuff like that, and maybe we can get at specific niche type things. Or, for instance, maybe just show me your day one builds and see how bad everything looks for humor's sake also. So I'm definitely going to be more interactive when it comes to the Twitter and stuff like that. We'll probably try and just chime more video ideas. I'm going to scrape on the notes and stuff like that and just see what we can come up with. But anyway, that's all for the video. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on noties, all good stuff. And like always, try to 2,000 likes. If you made it to the end of the video, put build in the comments. Show support me all the way through. But anyway, appreciate you guys watching. Long video. I really do appreciate you guys when you watch all of these all the way to the end. That's killer. That's super huge for me. But anyway, appreciate you guys. Take it easy, man. Peace.